leader had asked about salaries. I have answered that question on the welfare. The leader of minority, the Honorable Pio Wandai, asked about Chapter 6 vis-a-vis its place in the Constitution. It is true that Chapter 6 behoves on state and public officers to exercise the highest levels of integrity and to refrain from any conduct that may put the office which they serve in public odium or ridicule. It is also true that our Constitution in other parts, the same Constitution in other chapters, requires that persons who are accused of committing crimes must be taken through due process before any punishment or action is taken against them. Therefore, it is my view that there is no contradiction between the values, the very high moral standards that are anticipated under Chapter 6 and the very particular requirements of due process and fair trial which are provided in other parts of the Constitution. This is my take. That Chapter 6 was intentionally left that way so that on the one hand we have a moral imperative where public officers can exercise their conscience, and even when the law does not demand, they can even leave office or step aside or even retire or resign from office based on their conscience. And I think it's not an idle chapter, because I think in this country increasingly it will be very difficult for people who do not meet the moral and ethical standards that are set in our Constitution to operate. So that chapter is there. But on the other hand, there are the bedrock principles of criminal justice and human rights that require that if you accuse someone of committing a crime, it is important that due process first is carried out, because the danger of people using the instruments of state to accuse others falsely is extremely, extremely likely. And people can abuse the criminal justice system just to accuse other people, get them out of the way, and then achieve what they wanted. So that balance must continue to exist in our view, in our Constitution. It is not contradictory, it is complementary. On the question of my law firm, I would like to respond as follows. With regard to the PSC report, which has been referred to by the Honorable Pio Wandai, I have practiced law for 22 years. I have never been involved in any professional misconduct whatsoever. With regard to the report which he is talking about, reference was made to a payment which was made to my law firm of 500,000 shillings. That payment was not made by any company, leave alone a company that supplied NYS. It was made by a friend of mine and a colleague called Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen. And this is the story. Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen owed me 500,000 shillings, which I had lent him. And I went and asked him to pay me back. And he wrote me a check. That's it. Period. As to the 15 million shillings of the Honorable Pio Wandai is saying, I am not aware. I think he's confusing my law firm with another law firm. I'm very clear. I am extremely clear. And I would like him to clarify, Mr. Speaker, because this is a public process. I don't want to live here with Kenyans imagining that I obtained 15 million shillings from the proceeds of crime. 500,000 shillings, was I paid? Yes. By out of the box? No. By Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen, who owed me a friendly loan of 500,000 shillings, because at that time we were borrowing money from each other, which happens among colleagues. I'm sure